Hello, everybody. Welcome to Homemade God Studios Presents. And tonight we present the heroes of the world in my mind right now. These two amazing people that have come into my property and just showed such love and just amazingness. The Lovengers. I've been trying to get that right all week.
No, you crushed it.
Yeah. So,
Thank you guys for coming down here.
T-shirt, The Lovengers.
Yeah, amazing music. I love it.
Oh man, it's our pleasure.
Freaking
I knew
awesome.
you were gonna like them.
It was. Yeah.
Keita knows.
Yeah.
That should be
She
a
does.
show.
She knows my
Keita
stuff.
knows.
We've been itching to get out of the house so much so we were happy to drive across a couple of states to come here and hang
I
out with
really
you.
appreciate that because that is one hell of a drive.
I tell you what, it has definitely been worth it, every bit of it already.
So we'll get to the Lavengers stuff. We'll get to that. I have specific questions. But
Okay.
musically, how did all this come together? What are the musical backgrounds? How did this happen?
This is fun.
And then
That's
we
a
can
great
talk
question.
about the Lavengers stuff.
Yes.
This is
'cause
gonna
that's
be
a whole
fucking story.
Yes.
All right.
So, and I'll keep it to like
Yeah, let's try to do
5
let's
minutes.
try to just do this. Let's do this lightning round.
Like the abridged version, right?
We've
And
lived
so,
a lot
so
of life.
I think
It's-
Miles should probably
it's a
go
lot.
first since
Okay.
we're in like the prodigal son returns and we're in Nashville, right?
Oh, you know what? Thanks. I think you're right. That's totally.
Yes.
You make a good point. All right. Well, you said it. The prodigal son returns. So, I moved down here in 07 from Buffalo. I've been up there for 4 years and went to school and got on the radio and had a band and drinking problem and stuff. And so, college degree in hand, one divorce under my belt, and I moved down here in July of 07 and I knew right from the get-go, I was like, this is just going to be a shit show. I was like, all right, I got like a lot of growing to do, and it's the whole thing. On no fronts does this look like it's going to be pretty in any direction. So I was like, all right, buckle up, let's do this, man. So I had been just looking, something was like sort of like wrong in the world, and I was like really looking into it, and I started doing that with my music. I hadn't really done that before. Like, I was singing love songs and stuff, which is fine, but but then I actually wrote the love song, the one that we played earlier,
Our theme song.
our theme song, Love. But this is a whole different. Well, and that's why I even talk about the song. I was talking about different love in a very different context, and so I wrote that in 2007, looking around at the world, and I am just floored at how relevant it is today. It almost feels like it's more relevant. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
We went. So in the time in between then, a lot of like the hymns of the New World stuff that we played, it all came off of like other releases. I pieced it together with songs from like several EPs that I released in that time, and before that, I had a really cool project called Third Wheel Tuesday that I had here with my partner at the time and our best friend, and so that was really where a lot of like the sound that we're playing with now, that I sort of cut my teeth on that. Before that, it was all like rock stuff and you know, and so the Third Wheel Tuesday experience was like really, really cool. A lot of people resonated with it, and we got to go on tour and we did some really cool things. So it was eye-opening to me in terms of like what could be done with original music, what I could be doing with original music. And then, you know, as often is the case, there was a season for that project and those relationships, and so next season. And so then when I was moving on with the whole solo thing, I got more into the computer DAW software stuff, and I unlocked a couple of superpowers in terms of music production. And so I spent a lot of time just playing with that and learning and so on. And I had like 4 or 5 EPs to show for it, which was kind of cool when we started looking back at it. And then when I met Audrey, we started singing together some, you know, just whatever I was singing for my bar gigs at the time and my original songs that she was discovering and stuff like that. And And then eventually
it's a little bit more dramatic than that.
Well, I'm gonna let you fill in
I'm sure.
the dramatic. I'm laying the framework here, and then you can go to town on it.
All right.
So, but yeah. So then we started, and actually, in that regard, it was not all that different from the way Third Wheel Tuesday sort of formed, which is that we just started jamming and singing together, like at parties, or we're sitting by the pool or something like that, and it's like, oh, actually, that sounded really good. Let's play with that, And then Audrey and I had then sort of, it evolved into a more spiritual journey that had music as one of the sort of elements at play, and that led us to here.
Yeah.
And I hand it off to you.
Okay. Well, Miles and I have this thing that we say to each other. Okay, north face, south face. All right. So this is his north face side of the story, and I'll tell you my south face side of the story
I like it.
of the same mountain. So my musical background is so interesting. It's odd and unique, but there's a lot of things about me that's odd and unique, right? So, I started.
Yeah, we're aliens. We understand.
Yeah.
Trust me.
And I love that. We're totally, vibing on a particular frequency where it's like, what I mean, even if like.
Oh, I love you. Even if
Yeah.
you just, all you have to say is, you know what I mean. It's like, I sure
Exactly.
think do.
You just know what I mean.
Hi.
So, my musical background was like through school. Thankfully, my parents had like worked really hard and put us in private school, and so they had music programs, and I really, really, really was like, I want to play the violin, I want to play the clarinet, I want to sing in choir, I want to act, I want to sing, I want to dance, I want to do all of it. So, within whatever means I could, I started doing that. So, principal instrument being clarinet in 4th grade, and then joining orchestra, and then being like multi-instrumental all the way up to 8th grade, and then in high school doing marching band, but maintaining that multi-instrumental whatever, and then like starting to pick up some dance and doing praise and worship in church, in the synagogue, and then, so it was just like music was very much so in an institution for me. It was within the institution of education and within the institution of religion. That's the only place that it existed.
Yeah.
It was allowed to exist anyways in my world. And so, it taught me the core foundations of what I know, like how to read sheet music, how to play music, how to feel, how to understand. And I realized that ended up being like a medium for me to be able to transmute. And I didn't know that that's what was happening, or that's what I did, So, having just various instances of childhood trauma and just like my own mental health issues and whatever the case was, being able to have like an outlet to just like be on the whatever instrument I needed to be on and resonate and like blah.
Let out what
Into
you needed
something
out.
else.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
transmit that energy.
and I guess that was a sense of like grounding, and looking back, there were so many parts of myself that through that pressure cooker, through that crucible, or whatever the case is, like when I came back around and realized like, oh, there's this gem here that like I thought was nothing, I discarded it. Meaning, what was drilled into my head is something of value was, again, education and discipline and, religion. And so when I finished high school, I was like, that's it, music. It was fun. Woo! I'm going to miss you. And
Go be a doctor now.
time to like med school track, because, of just one, being a driven person and knowing that I cannot and will not waste any ounce of like chance or opportunity I have. So like I'm not going to waste it on something as frivolous as music. So I was pre-med in college, and then went to midwifery school, and then practiced as a midwife for about a decade and had my son. And, through the course of like the last, especially, as I said, decade of especially practicing and, realizing like, okay, there's a lot of things going wrong. And especially where I am, which is the core and the essence of humanity itself, is going really, really, really wrong. And it's only going more wrong. And it's going
Talking
so
about
wrong.
midwifery.
Yeah,
this
just
midwifery
women's
space that
health,
she was
just
in, yeah.
women's issues,
Right.
just
It's very
just
bad.
anything that has to do with reproductive justice and all of that stuff. Just going so wrong to the point that just social determinants of health become like invisible binding factors that you can't run away from. And an example of that is, regardless of like your background, your education, all the things in terms of health and wellness, whatever, like, or even putting yourself in a bubble as much as you can, still does not prevent you from having certain health outcomes, like possibly having a 3 to 4 time increase of having preterm labor, or like having a sick infant, or just so many other things depending on what your social demographic is,
Right.
or what your race
So
is.
for black
Yeah.
women,
Right?
we see a lot. It's like it's the maternal mortality rate, women dying in childbirth, and or after, from preventable, easily preventable
Easily
situations, right?
Their doctor
Yeah.
not fucking listening to them.
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
not talking to
and
them, or not,
and so
not providing them what they really needed. Because
Or
Right.
even access.
Yeah,
So
or
so
even
that's
access,
assuming
yeah.
the ones who
right.
even
And
had
so,
access.
Yeah.
So then you see,
There's so many layers
so
to
the
that.
social determinants of health shows up in those statistics. You can see it, right? It's like the wind blows the leaves. You can see this institutional problem, right? And then you could see it with white men, but men across the world in particular. The suicide rates are higher.
Yeah.
And so each demographic is affected differently, but each demographic is affected. Every single demographic.
Every single one.
So when we look
One
at
way.
all the different factors of like, okay, trauma, oh, okay, bloop, 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 mental health issues, bloop, 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 bloop. And we see what are some of the things that especially inflame some of these issues. And so, I was in my world, my field of like women's health, reproductive justice, just practicing is a midwife, doing what I, could do just on the 1-to-1 scale, and just realizing that it doesn't matter how much I do, how empowering I try to be in this core essence. Like, I cannot outrun this clock or this system that wasn't made for me, that is literally chewing me up anyways.
I know exactly. When I was younger, I thought about getting the medical field. I joined the Army to get in the medical field and work on being a doctor. And I met a man that said, it's going to change to a point. You were not the type of person that could handle it. He sat me down and told me, you were not going to be able to handle it because you were too kind. You were too nice. You will not like to see what happens. You will go broke. You will be banned from it just because you will want to give so much. And it hurt to see it, but he was right. And I would have stayed in it, I'd probably be in jail or in trouble for wanting to give so much, wanting to help out so much. And I had to shut away from it, and it made me so depressed for years to not be able to do that and not be able to. I found something and did things, but music was always there for me. Picked up an instrument and would just wail on it just to have that anger issue taken out.
Oh yeah, it's a healthy way to let the energy, let the power flow through you. Your anger makes you stronger.
Oh,
guys meet
jeez,
us.
Louisa. Okay.
So you're from, what'd you say, the South Base?
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
South Base, right?
So we got up to this. So that's where you were when we met.
Yeah. So for
We met on Tinder. Spoiler alert.
Up to this point, right? Like, not a musician, quote unquote.
Yeah.
I was in mom world, medical professional world, and also in the branch part of my life where, you know, in my marriage we were poly, and so, you know, Miles falls out of Tinder.
Yeah.
And you know, that I remember music being a little bit more formative in my life because like I needed something more. And so my husband and I at the time just started like he bought a ukulele and we were like, oh, let's just like sing together. Remember when we used to sing in chorale, you know, which was like this choral group in our high school. So you know, again, like going back to the roots of like what I knew from education or from religion, um, kind of just to like get the taste of music again, but then starting to like getting turned on to completely different music that I've never seen or heard or had access to because of the different place I was in my life, the different people I was around. And so Miles at the time was a working musician as opposed to a spirited musician who's doing and making music on his own time, on his own terms.
Yeah,
right?
so I was doing bar gigs.
It's a totally different vibe. And just like witnessing his craft and being like, wow, this is so beautiful, he's so good. And when he wasn't playing a cover and he was playing his original song, and the way it just like stirred like energy and emotion within myself, I was just like, what is happening? Then I was like, this is like the music I grew up with. Like,
But it
you
wasn't.
know,
But
correct.
yeah.
It feels like church music without the like church.
Church.
Sure, yeah.
The
So
way it should be.
so I kind of was like, all right, well, you know, he's a positive vibing person and all this stuff. And
your church.
oh my gosh,
It's
I
been my
cannot
church
tell you
and my
how many
shelter.
times I
Yeah.
like played his music, played his album, so much so that my son was like, oh, I know this guy, like just like anyone else on the radio.
Yeah.
Which then I was like, oh yeah, I do know that guy. And from a place of admiration to a place of like, well, let me kind of like dabble a little bit, which I had not picked up music in over a
Years,
decade.
yeah.
Over a decade. I'm pretty sure.
Uh,
Yeah. So to which point we're playing at the piano and we're kind of playing together, but life takes some turns, and without realizing it, I went back to the piano to allow my heart and my soul to mend again, you know? And through that method of doing that and actually finding songs that I was like, I want to play this song. I want to play this song. Because I needed something to resonate to be able to ground. And then that's how Miles and I would play together, you know?
yeah, we
so I
started
had
like
heard...
practicing jamming over there. on the songs.
Yeah, and one of the first songs was "I Won't Back Down," you know,
Yeah.
because like, I don't want to cry, but just that song specifically, I needed that. I needed something to, I guess, channel
Yeah.
that energy
It is a
of knowing
great
that
song
I
for
won't.
that too. Yeah. It is a great. That song
Yeah.
has gotten me through many a point in life
Yeah.
where I was so down, and it's like, nope.
Yup.
I could play it in my head,
Yeah.
and there's so many versions I've heard of it. I can pick any one of them
Yeah.
and play them in my head and know, okay, I can do this.
Yeah.
There were times it was sung in my head while I was building this.
Yeah.
There were times it
Yeah.
sung in my head when I was sitting over there trying to write something. Or just
Yeah.
figure out the board or figure out how am I going to make this computer work to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's,
Miles just wrote the chords for me. I was like, babe, can you write the chords for me? And it was like my teenage self figuring out the chords on the piano again and just figuring it out and putting those broken pieces and making it whole. It
Yeah.
was
yeah, that's
everything.
beautiful.
Yeah.
I haven't heard you put it like that before.
Wow. And so that's what we did. It was a cathartic, you know, experience for me. That was medicine, and I realized like, oh, that's the whole point, I think, of not only experiencing life through our own self, but the whole point is we live together and we are connected. So maybe there's a way that through my experience I can like transform it into something and make it medicine for someone else.
Yeah.
Right. Which is what Tom Petty did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right there, you know.
And
it's-
so here we are, and we kept doing that because it was medicine first for like
Us.
myself.
Yeah.
and then I realized like, well, maybe it's not nothing. Like maybe music does have value.
Yeah.
You know, maybe the impressions that I was taught or told weren't right. Like, what if I let go some of that programming and actually tap into what makes me feel my like truest self?
Yeah.
And like, isn't that what this is all for? Like,
Right, otherwise, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are we living to be our true selves?
Yeah.
And it's funny that
Yes.
music would be revealing all that
Some
shit.
of us.
I thought that you had to. I think there was a question. We were trying to keep this from going totally off the rails.
So now that we know how this
Anywho,
all
so
came
now
you
that-
did
together,
good.
that-
You brought us
yes.
back. You did good.
tell
And I
us
think we did that in
about
less than 10 minutes
Lavengers.
or
How
10
did
minutes?
Lavengers come together? What is
la
Lavengers? Where can people
la.
go to find Lavenger? It's Lavengers story time.
All right,
Lavenger's
story.
origin story.
Go.
Um,
Web, go.
okay.
Go origin story, go.
So you hear about like how the music started, right? So, and that was just an authentic like thing that felt good to us. We didn't even identify ourselves as a band or anything. It was
Yeah,
just
for a
a
long
thing
time.
we
We
did
were
at
just
home.
trying. Yeah.
We were
Yeah.
just people at home
Playing music.
playing music, felt good. And it was time to finally make a dream that needed to be done come true, which is go back to Haiti, visit, my family, and to
It wasn't a lifelong dream for me. It was for her. I was.
yes, and to be able to like, I guess you can say like, give back of my skill because like I owe everything to everyone that came before me.
Yeah.
So
You need to go back and take some midwifery skills back.
yeah, so I was like, let me honor like my people and let me elevate my people by at least helping in a way that I know that they need it, which Haiti has the worst maternal and infant mortality in the Western Hemisphere. So I was
Yeah.
like, well, that's the one thing I for sure can help.
right. So, okay.
So-
That's a good place to start.
All right, let's
Why
do
not?
this.
It's a good place
And
to
how many times
start.
had you? How many attempts had you made prior
Oh my
to that
gosh.
to try to plan it?
Oh my
and go?
gosh, like 4 attempts, right? So, the thing with like one, if you never give up, it'll for sure happen. And for a mother and a busy, working midwife, like, it's a feat. It's
Yeah.
a feat. And especially with scheduling clients and all this type of stuff and taking care of her practice. So, I realized if you want to do something and you've been getting results a particular way by doing same action, you have to do a different action.
Yeah.
Now, that sounds really simple, but do you have the courage to do a different action when you finally realize that the same action is not working?
I do. I mean,
Yeah.
You
Well, we're
know,
sitting in it.
So,
what
Right.
you're talking about is what some people would call an idiot who keeps doing the same thing over.
Of
Yeah,
course.
exactly. At some point.
Getting the same thing and not changing. That's change is what it's about.
Of course.
If you don't change, you're gonna be stuck. in that
Yes.
same.
well, what I was
thing
talking
that's-
about is like the fear of the in between, because
Yeah.
you know how like
it's-
you come to the point where well now but you're still like, ugh.
Mhm.
But what, you just
Sometimes, great slogan that made someone a bunch of money. Just do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
mean,
Well,
Yeah.
and so that's what it came down to. And in this case, what that meant for Audrey was a trip going back to Haiti to do the midwifery work. For me, I had started off on this journey of superhero-ness. Oh, sorry, my bad. Thank you. All right, sorry.
I was
So,
like, you don't have it.
I started my journey of superhero-ness back when I was little. I've got pictures of me in super gear since I was like toddler, right? And steady, line of photographs since then. And so that was just always sort of a thing, and I had grown up and had the opportunity to travel a little bit when I was younger. I lived in Puerto Rico when I was like 8 for like a year, 7.5, 8, with my family, and it was a really transformative experience for me because you get it's like you're going to a whole new universe.
Yeah.
And living there, and so then later years after I'd come back and I had been through a lot of shit, and I really had started to like have this sort of vision of like, nah, I feel like I could just use what I got, like to throw on a benefit concert or something and try to help raise some money. In this case, it was my senior year of high school. The concert, Keita was there. The Up in the Wood concert in Inglewood, Florida. I got a couple of my friends and we put on this show for our class, and it was to raise money for the local no-kill animal shelter. And I had also been trying to sell my CDs to help raise money for victims of 9/11 or something, because that had just happened not too long.
Yeah.
And so I was just, and it was the prototype. I was prototyping what I'm doing now. I was even involved in a local, creating a local chapter of the Junior JCs, or the Junior Chamber of Commerce for kids, basically, or for teenagers. So that's what I always wanted to do with my time in my life. Like everything else, fucking working a job and going to college and all this other shit was just stuff that the world made me have to fucking do, instead of getting to do the thing that I loved and wanted to do the whole damn time. And so when this opportunity came up, and I had been, I had elected to help raise children for a handful of years, and that was after all the Third Wheel Tuesday stuff and everything like that. So it was like I had just been so still for so long, because that's what my world needed of me.
Yeah.
And an opportunity presented itself to go get back to like, no, this is who I was when I was a kid and didn't have responsibilities, and no one told me who I was supposed to be. This is who I was, and I need to go like follow it.
Yeah.
And so it was, so then we go down and we have this trip to Haiti, and it was just utterly transformative on the most bizarre scales.
Mm-hmm. And not on the scale of like, oh, we went down and we were like gods to people there.
Right, or
No.
our money went so far.
No, not at all. If anything, I was just like, I understand, this is just a drop in a bucket, but this is, if anything, for me to see family, to be able to give what I have, thinking like, okay, great, I did my energetic deed, and at least what I have did something on this gaping wound that's gushing.
Mm-hmm. Right.
We all feel that feeling of like, oh, I don't know, I got a lot I feel like I can give, but it's not enough to fix it.
Yeah.
And so I just knew that wasn't gonna be, like, I didn't have that mentality. And also, that's a diseased mentality to think that, like, oh, we need to go down and, like, save
somebody.
people.
Yeah.
If anything, having complete understanding of, like, why and how they got that way gives you then the awareness of, like, we're definitely going to make sure we don't recreate the trauma that's happening here.
Yeah.
And just apply help.
Yeah. In Haiti, not just Haiti, but in places like it, they get they get helped to death.
To where then they're immobilized to be able to actually do their own thing, which actually really is a whole, let's come down and like really give you empty calories, but like fatten our pocketbooks because we make money off of it too.
Yeah.
So I wrote that song back in 2007, and this opportunity came up, and I came down and I was like, well, her purpose is pretty clear down here. The midwife thing is very easily obvious. What do I have to do there?
And Miles was like, I'll be your wingman. I was like, you be my wingman? I was like, do I even need that? Well, we had a travel experience literally like 2 or 3 weeks prior, And I really benefited greatly having that, like someone taking care of my tech and then driving me to the thing to drop me off so I don't have to park the car to make sure I'm there at the event correct. So I was like, you know what?
Teamwork.
I am traveling internationally, and despite the fact that, yes, I speak some of this language, like, I guess I don't have to struggle and do everything myself. So I started to really shift that mentality. That was one of my conscious, like, growth moments where I was like, you know what? Yeah, you do kind of need to expand and be a team, because if you want to, like, shoot for some of the people you're looking at, they didn't get there by themselves, so I was like, all right, cool, start growing, start doing something different, which is literally why Haiti even happened, was because I was like, Miles, you want to go to Haiti?
Yeah.
I was like, the other times, he wasn't even in the picture, in the frame or whatever, like maybe with like a different person, with an additional person, different energy, different skill sets, like we can manifest this thing and make it happen. And sure enough, blah blah blah, it happened.
And we did, yeah. And so I realized, and we had to, it was such a journey to actually get the trip sorted out and go down. We had to sort of really fight for it in a manner of speaking. And so we get down there, and I have been on this journey with the MCU, the Marvel movies and all that, right? Been watching Superman and Star Wars and stuff like that since I was a kid, but I never really followed the comics. And when Iron Man came out, I saw this dude on screen, and I was like, holy shit, that's like me. What? They made a movie about me. Nobody told me about it. Right? And so I still wasn't super up on the comics part of it. And then as the movies went on, particularly when I kind of eventually saw all the first ones in the Avengers, the year that it came out, and I was like, oh, I need to pay attention. Like when I was a little kid, I saw Superman, and I was like, oh, it's me. Like I was 100% certain of it. And so here I am now all these years later, and I'm like recognizing the same thing again, but as an adult and in a different part of me. Right? When I was a kid, it was the spirit of Superman. I got the spirit of Superman. But I think like Iron Man, and I have a lot of his kind of attitudes and problem-solving sort of philosophies. And I would react to shit the exact same way that he does and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And so it got so weird that it was like, even people around me were like, well, you're not wrong. Right, yeah. And so I get down to Haiti, and I wasn't still totally sure what I wanted to do there. I wanted to make sure that my impact wasn't a negative one, and I wanted to learn and make friends and listen carefully. Mm-hmm. That was sort of just the plan. I didn't really have, and be and that would free me up to be a good support person for her. I didn't have, and I get down there, and so I was doing my Iron Man job, setting up the Wi-Fi for us on all of our devices. And Audrey they dropped her right in. They were like, oh, you're a midwife and you can speak Haitian Creole? Boom, you in. Like, don't even bother with your bags. The guy will get it. Just let Miles get it. Get right in the game. And so, and to her credit, she did it like a champion. It was one of the coolest things I've ever seen in my life. But I don't want to, I'm going to let you, speak on that more if you want to, but so that all that happens, super cool. And then like my memory of it now is all hallowed, and it gets real quiet as I get up to you can hear my footsteps stepping up to it.
And
right? So I go ahead.
No, I was gonna say that just to kind of give you relativity here, we land into the Haitian airport. We get picked up by our people. We get to the birth center / compound. We do a quick tour. Within 20 minutes of being there at the facility, they're showing us the calendar, and then Miles is now like, oh, so the Wi-Fi code is where? And so here it is. I'm looking at the call calendar because my name is now put on it for a shift that night.
They were like right away.
And underneath it, because Miles has our devices, it says on the Wi-Fi, and they pointed out Iron Man 3, 2, 1. And I remember getting chills, and I slowly look over at Miles just to be like, am I the only one who caught that or who vibed that? Or maybe I'm looking too much into this thing, right?
Yeah.
Like maybe I'm the one who's like, oh, I asked him to come and this is just a sign for me, right? But then knowing how Miles feels about like the Marvel and all the stuff, and I didn't even know any of this stuff at all, and he's the one who started talking to me about it, right? Which is why I'm even on board with any of this. I was like, well, then how much resonance does it have for him?
Right.
Yeah.
So I turn over at him, and he was also slowly turning and looking at me.
Okay.
And at the same time, when our face met, I was like, then we just knew. We didn't know what that meant, but we just knew, like,
Some
this
shit
is
just went
supposed to
down.
happen.
Yeah.
There was a
We're meant to
disturbance
be
in the
here.
force.
I don't know what's going to happen now. We've literally only been here 20 minutes. Okay. All right, just rest assured, you're meant to be here.
Yep.
Yeah.
And, that felt like really just cozy and reassuring. That was like the next cozy, reassuring thing, because like upon landing, seeing everybody that looks like you and who reminds you of your aunties and uncles and reminds you of like down back in Miami and stuff, you're like, oh, that You're like, oh, this is great. It's a sensation that like I have not had the privilege of feeling in America as a Black woman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have somewhere we're just
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
so I was just like, wow, this is a totally different vibe and experience. And there was a level of ease just with like being able to breathe, and not from like change in like atmosphere and what's there, just vibrationally, what I don't have to carry as a front or be or whatever because of perceptions or how people are going to act or how people may react that might endanger me.
Right.
Like,
all of a sudden, that's gone when you step off the plane in Haiti.
yeah, that's literally actually part of why social determinants of health is a thing you cannot get rid of, no matter like how much and how much money you have and all that ridiculousness. As we've seen by like, case in point Serena and Beyonce and just like, and that's on the medical front. That's not even on like, just everything else. So, when we were just like there experiencing, we're like, okay, let's make sure we know like for sure what we're here to do and what we're here not to do. We're not here to recreate any colonial patriarchy, colonization bullshit that's going to traumatize people.
We're not here to capitalize
or
off anybody.
patronize them, or like, oh, go and tell them the gospel of whatever, and so we're helping them. Like none of that, right? But also at the same time, like, do what we have within ourselves, which is our like superpowers, right? Which can do something, and then be open to see what do they need. Because if you really truly have a heart to help, then like you can keep an ear out for like, well, no, can't do that. No, I can't do. But yeah, that I can do.
I can help with that.
Or even problem solving and realizing. And the biggest thing about this whole trip was realizing that help is so much bigger than what one person can ever do, and it was never meant to be that.
Yeah.
And we made a difference in, literally a human being alive on this planet Earth right now still, because we decided like, well, what if we, didn't just be like, well, what can we do?
Right.
We can't do anything.
Audrey took it upon herself to follow up on this situation, and it was like, oh wow, we were able to help a little girl get out of a real tough spot and sort of live to fight another day. And it's like, wow,
So,
man, it's just like being a good
impactful.
neighbor, right? It just is
Yeah.
really all it is, and that kind of thing. And so, I think that when you like see, oh, it didn't. It just took me calling in a few other human beings to just take a look at this situation and see what they can do.
It took me the choice to just try.
Yeah.
And because sometimes Like, when we're bombarded with all that stuff, we on purpose selectively choose that, like, to immune that out. Like, when we see homeless people, like, when we, like, see something that just breaks our heart, unless you got money like that, or you have the time of day, or, you have
we
the
feel-
energy capacity to actually engage on that on a human level, knowing that you can't just make it better,
Yeah.
and still being with it and being present with it for real,
Yeah.
you know?
It's hard. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard sometimes.
We
yeah,
on
it is.
purpose disengage. That's why we
Yeah,
walk
we-
right
we
past
walk
homeless
along,
people.
ignore
That's
it.
why, like, literally there's statistics about, like, someone can be, like, murdered in an alley, and we're like, well, someone else is going to handle that.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, no one else ever calls?
Yeah.
Like, that's where we've gotten to, is, like, people and as a country. And then, I kept hearing this narrative, oh, I'm just a mother, I'm just a midwife. And so I was thinking, oh, I just have this little thing to offer, only to realize, like, wait a second.
There's more.
The biggest part of it wasn't even the thing that I had to offer. It was a choice that I made to, like, think that I could even maybe do something different, despite the fact that I didn't have anything else that I could do.
Right.
Yeah.
And so then putting off that energy and then having other people literally rally and make a difference, I was just like, if this is the impact we can make, like, just like,
One random
Just like
situation,
that.
Just like that. Yeah.
what if we, like, scaled this up and we, like, did this for real? Like, we made this our, like, job. Like, every day we tried to make the world better. And we just, like, did different choices that led to different, outcomes where more people can be helped.
Yeah.
And that is the direction we took on. And upon realizing all of that, I was like, that was our first Lovengers mission.
Mhm.
That was, like, where it was birthed, especially when, after rounding in the hospital and just being, like, so, like, lit blaze with, like, anger and fear and frustration.
grief,
And
righteous grief.
just of, like, how can people live like this? It's not okay.
No.
And, the fact that I got, I was privileged enough to be born in America, when I very easily could have been born in Haiti, and to realize now what kind of privilege and power that automatically puts me when I was thinking that, oh, I don't have much. Like that perspective from a first world country, being told all kinds of things, when you have the relativity of being, with other people that are your people, literally your cousins, your family, your blood, your like, all of it, and they're third world country, and you realize that the gap of life and all that in between, and that there's literally, this is not the only place in the world, and that there are literally, like, over half of the world lives like this. And when we look at, like, mass poverty, 60% of the women and children who live in that are women and children.
60% of the people who live in those conditions are women and children.
And so that's part of why we have global poverty, is because the very ones who literally are who should be empowered to, like, help the next generation be exactly what we need it to be, are disempowered and
It's
disvalued.
taken away from them.
Yeah.
And that's what's perpetuated in the next generations, and we wonder why. Like, are you
It's been
kidding?
going on like that for years.
So-
It's so sad that we as humans have not changed that.
Well,
Well,
we
and that's
are
what we're here
now.
for. And so here's the
You guys
thing.
are doing,
We
and I
are
love
now.
that you guys are doing that.
Yeah.
I wanted to bring it in. That was so, I love you.
Well,
This is so- no,
anyways,
it's powerful
I
stuff.
get all charged about it.
No, I love it. It's good. You should. We need to. And so to sort of wrap up our origin story on my North Face take of it, for a long time, things just felt a little too good to be true. The idea that things could actually get better. ever since 2007, I was noticing this thing. I wrote it into a song and was singing it to people, trying to be like, hey, everybody, anybody want to, it's like a big problem.
There's not enough love in the world.
Yeah, well, and we don't know how to do it, how to start implementing it, and it took me a long time to understand why. And so one of the first things that this Haiti trip did was it reminded me that, you know, just because I had dismantled my faith and religion and things like that from when I was younger, it reignited faith in myself, and I was like, oh, that's right, I was this little superhero kid who went through crazy shit and was like wicked smart and could hold a guitar properly when he was still wearing his onesies. Like, I can do some shit. And I took pictures of that Wi-Fi password thing, and I have pictures of me, of the clothes that I wore down there, including my Iron Man armor t-shirt, and I took pictures of the computers we were working on, and my phone had Iron Man on it. This was all when I came down there, and my computer had Iron Man on the desktop.
So this was just a, shall we say, coincidence, not coincidence, but, you know, the same word, just thought of differently. Yeah. Coincidence. So much so that I had to ask, like, you know, the nurse and the other people there, like, oh, are you guys like Marvel fans? Do you like watching the whatever? They're like, we don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And so whomever does their tech or whatever, this third party individual who doesn't even live there or operate the compound was the one who put this up. So this is like all these different kismet pieces that came together.
Right.
That wasn't even like, we didn't put it like that on purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so all of this comes together. We have this experience where it's like, oh, if we get people ready to work together on the regular to embed their lives around them, it can be scaled up.
Yes.
That's the thing. It can be scaled up. And I was like, that's something I can fucking do.
Absolutely.
And so we get back and...
Well, you're forgetting one small part, which is kind of a big part.
See.
So the other part is that, you know, we also had told, you know, the people that we're there with, and, you know, specifically...
Oh, my God, this is the biggest part.
You know, one midwife, you know, I said to her, I was like, I want to be able to help more, and I don't know what you need. Tell me what you need, and I want to help you, and I want you to be able to be empowered to just live the way you need to live. That's it. I don't need anything. I don't want anything. I just need to know, what do you need so you could fix this and you can finally get to, like...
just live your life.
Right? Because that is... Oh, yeah. That's not what we have going on with the current, like, NGOs and just help that's there. Help is not truly help. And so... with that notion, when they asked us, like, are you serious about your offer? And I remember thinking to myself, like, in my heart's like beating hard.
Oh,
and I'm like,
they asked how, like, we asked how we could help.
Yeah.
And you know, what they ended up talking about was things like, you know, having equity in their community and having the, resources to be able to build their own businesses and drive their own lives and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Just not having this stuff picked apart off of them all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so investing in ways that they can be empowered for themselves is sort of what they came down on, I would say, broadly speaking.
Yes.
And so then we were like, well, we want to, like, I want to invest my life in, you know, I want to invest in helping you.
Yeah.
And then they asked us, they were like,
so as we're sitting around the kitchen table and they are like, that's a really big deal for someone to come back, you know, like, whose people, like, you weren't even born in this country, but your people are from this country, and you're coming back to spend your time, your energy, and your money. Like, are you serious? And I was like, yes, I do have the intention to really do help however I can, however you need and want it to be. And so they're like, okay, all right, well, you know, let's whatever we can do to make this better, let's do it. And so, like, we didn't even have the idea or the name, the Lovengers. We were just playing music at home, and it was fun. And we had this experience, you know, that was life changing. And then now we're just like, how do we, like, make this something that can actually make the world a better place? Like, how do we, through who we are, what we love to do, and through our message, be the heroes we've been waiting for? Because the world's not going to fix itself. Like, you know, we've been hearing these songs, we've been looking at these movies, you know, we hear about superheroes, and we know that there's no Wonder Woman and no Superman for real. And this human, like, present reality in this current lifetime, we only have it in our imaginary world. But this world right now is on fire too. Like, who's going to save us except for ourselves? And so realizing that who we are, like exactly who we are, is what we actually need. It is not what we've been conditioned and socialized and programmed with. It is the things that vibrationally, like, you know, make our soul feel joy and feel purpose. And I started to realize, like, there's a difference between, you know, a job and respectability and professionalism and all of that, and living life and being human. Like, we get so stuck on examining human beings. Remember, like I was saying earlier, correct, that we keep on focusing and looking and looking and looking and looking. And, you know, our technology, we can literally wear, and it tells us what our pulse ox is, you know, what our temperature, what are this, what are that, what are this. And we are literally not even realizing, like, have I been outside today? Like, have I laughed today? Like, you know, what am I doing for my spirit? Like, if we're even acknowledging that we have one, you know. And so that's part of where we are out of sorts and balance, not only with ourselves, but with the planet and all kinds of things. And we can't force other people to change, except we can change ourselves. And so that's where I was like, you know what, girl? You are a mother and you are a midwife, and that's what you're going to use to actually change this. If anything, the very thing that people think that actually makes me weaker or not powerful, that's the very thing I want to be like, watch. This is what actually is going to be the thing I'm going to focus on that will make things better. And, you know, through that, like, every single human being comes from a womb. Like, so it really is something that's, like, all encompassing. And when we realize that, like, there's a greater sense of this, like, greater human self, and that we all have a place in space that, you know, we should be loved and taken care of and have our needs met and all of that, you know, there's other people who also are aligned in that thought process too. And so by doing what we love to do and being able to, like, you know, elevate, educate, and empower ourselves and each other, we literally can then, you know, monetize it, or ourselves physically, you know, connect with other organizations to create the connections that need to happen to make something be resolved or fixed or whatever the case is. And so, you know, the Lovengers is kind of like a mycelial network. Like, whatever needs to be nourished, however they need to be nourished, we will then create whatever kind of connections that need to happen, and we use our unique gifts, and together we will then make whatever resources we need through either the monetization of our co-collaboration, or through just, like, the partnerships of bringing people in who then are able to empower that thing to happen. So we're not going to sit around and just wait for someone else, like, oh, if only we had a billionaire who would just, like, no, we're done with that. We're done with that.
So
we're the heroes we've been waiting for.
God's gonna do it.
We're the heroes we've been waiting for.
We're the gods who are going to do it.
So,
We.
and we're gonna do it literally doing exactly what we want and love to do, and what are uniquely things that make things deeply resonate in other people. You know.
Well, and so for me, that meant getting serious about the music as something more than just like a bar, like a thing I can trade for money at a bar, right? I had to go back and examine what I was doing with my arts and academics and allyship. And so for me, it became was like, oh, okay, well, we can use the music to help people sort of like connect with each other and connect with themselves, right?
And
Because
to
music
help
is good with
elevate
that,
our
right?
frequency.
Yeah.
Elevate, right?
because-
And then
Yeah.
I can develop educational platforms and make educational resources available for people so that if the thing that's holding them up is not a spiritual thing, maybe they need access to information that they don't have. Education is a big challenge for a lot of people. So on our website, we got education stuff available, all kinds of stuff. And
when
then,
you know better, you can do better. It's really the
Yeah.
core essence
Yeah.
of that. And you can actually be more likely to learn better if you are in a elevated frequency. And so
Yeah.
the things that you connect with are just going to be part of what help you, discover and unlock your superpower.
And then and then we've got an empower element, which is we've got like resources, like civic resources for people, and group gatherings and things like that to bring people together physically. And there's a lot more cool stuff we want to do from here, but we just got to get the word out.
So much more to come in the
but-
future.
But yeah, so we built a whole platform where people can basically come together. It works a lot like a church does, but with none of the church stuff because it's available for everyone. This is something that can't be bound by countries or religion or anything like that, because then we have to be exclusionary somehow. And so if we exclude all, if we want to include all humans, then that's the only way that all of this can play out and work functionally. And so that's sort of the philosophy we built the Lovengers thing with. So it's a vibe, it's a band, it's a culture, it's sort of
It's the new world.
we're gonna build it together. That's the plan.
Speaking of build it together, just to consolidate all of that, tell the people who have no idea who Lovengers are, like, what are the different facets of Lovengers that they can interact with right now?
Absolutely.
Super cool.
So we have our main social media platform currently running on Instagram. Our website is a great place to get like a whole helicopter view of, where we'll be, different live events, and also
Get all of
just
our music
different
for free and stuff.
content. We don't only just make music, we make multimedia content because we are also transformational speakers. So we try to put into like relatable ways, bite-sized pieces where people are like, you know what? I do see how maybe I can discover or learn something, and that can help me do me better.
So I think we're fishing for platforms though. So we're on YouTube.
Platforms,
We're on
yeah.
YouTube. We're on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. We got a Patreon page. Now so some of it is that content that she was talking about, and we
Yes.
have a couple of seasons of our Lovengers Assemble that you
Yes.
can get a hold of.
And we have some band practices. And so, our band practice medium, which is not unlike what we actually did here. This is like a super, super long form of that. That's one of the shows people can watch. But Lovengers Assemble eventually is going to be one of those ways that you can see what's happening in our group. That's kind of the community.
Yeah, we want
Lovengers
to be
Assemble.
yeah, exactly. So
So in the Facebook group, like we're creating like a vibe where we can have a place where we can check in with each other daily, weekly, and just the community can reside there.
yeah, if you're trying to live that hashtag superhero life and like unlock your own superpowers and help the world be better with them, then the Lovengers Assemble Facebook group is a place where like other people are going to be doing that too.
And all the things that you need to know, because we've talked about now all the different platforms. You can just get it from our link tree, and a super direct route to get that is either on our Instagram platform or just on the website on the homepage. And so on every single platform,
Lovengers.org.
we are the Lovengers. So at the Lovengers or the Lovengers on pretty much anything, and that's us.
You nailed it, babe. It's beautiful. Oh, we also have the podcast. I forgot about the podcast.
Yes.
Lovengers podcast is another one of the things that we have, and we got merch. We've got like super cool merch. I designed it myself. The
Yes.
backpacks that actually might be on screen here.
Everything on our link tree, which we're super, super excited. But what I love that we've actually turned the Lovengers into, because I was like, oh geez, do we fully know how we want to connect ourselves with all of this and create it to be a machine that then like builds a better tomorrow. We then kind of were like, okay, well, we're a band, we're transformational speakers, and we're real life superheroes. Ultimately, like, we love to play music, and what we do with all of that, you know, any revenue we generate literally empowers, you know, organizations, NPOs, or even, you know, missions that we do personally to help, you know, other people.
Yeah, we take a pretty sizable portion of the proceeds that we get from all of our merch and our Patreon and everything like that, and we're working on finding ways to invest it directly into the community.
Correct.
So it's super cool stuff, and and we do that with every dollar we take in.
Yes, and before too long, we will have our Empower Foundation. That's one of our next big goals on the horizon, so that we literally just have a financial well to be able to be like, oh, who needs help? Oh, what needs fixing? Okay, great. Boom.
Done.
So, yeah.
So folks can find you on Lovengers.org, and I was taking a gander at the website earlier today. I check it out from time to time. But yeah, you have your events listed right on the front page. Can you tell us about some of the events you have coming up?
Yes. So in June, for those who are in Florida, that's actually our home base, Central Florida. But we really do travel all over Florida. We have a con coming up called Heroes, Villains, and Blurs. One of my favoriteest things to be a part of, because, you know, when you see people out there creating spaces that are inclusive for everyone, especially in spaces that weren't typically made for them, then it's such a rich, diverse, beautiful vibe. Mm-hmm. And I feel like I can flourish so just amazingly. And so at this con, you know, this will be our third musical rotation,
yes.
Which I'm really, really excited. And, you know, just being with a good energy. So that'll be June 17th. And you can also go look at our calendar.
I would look it on the website. I don't know the dates. My phone and my computer tell me. That's
Lovengers.org, not thelovengers.com or Lovengers.net. It's Lovengers.org.
That's true.
Nailed it.
Yes. But, you know, we do also private gatherings, because we really do believe in small connections and grassroots energy, and kind of just resonating on a place that's very organic, because you know, one, that's the most accessible. And so we have a few private events coming up where we're kind of taking our revival on the road. So if you like what you hear and see, go check out our Heroes for Hire. And we have different packages, because we, you know, not only do things for private groups or just you know, people we resonate with, but conferences and retreats and you know, workshops and personal development, things like that. Because really, when you think about where we are, we need to shake up how we think about, you know, our approach, not only in everyday life, but just about ourselves. And when we understand that there's something unique and incredible about ourselves that we don't need fixing, that's why we have industries of personal development that are multi-million-dollar. How come we aren't all just better than whoop,
right,
done.
If all your stuff is worth all that money.
So just coming to realize wait a second, it's actually in reverse. We need to unlearn so many things and relearn the divine essence of who we are that comes with a divine program. And when we know how to live in that, that is our optimal frequency for being who we are on this planet. And so, you know, that's what I've always wanted for my son. That's always what I've wanted for every single client I've served and for every single baby on this planet. Because why else? What is the point of investing and nurturing life if we literally don't what's the point? Like that,
Yeah.
there's nothing more to be said about that. This existence, this world, everything that's going around on this planet, there's no way of doing things that we've done that helps us live optimally, but we know what hurts us. So at the very least, we can at least not do the things that on purpose kill us faster, and start to create pathways with the information that we have that actually makes things better for the people who are suffering the worst. So then we're actually making differences in like mass incarceration because we're understanding the systems that like handle that thing,
Well, and
or hospitals. And
yeah.
am I too sweeping with my generalizations here?
Oh, well, not necessarily. I just I had a thought to add to that, which is that sometimes are like so these are real. We're real stuck with some of these problems, right? We're having a hard time fixing some of these big problems, and
It can be fixed.
they can all be
There's
fixed.
people
Yes.
that can do it. They
It's how we
just
talk in
don't
this
want to.
studio.
Oh, absolutely.
They
And
just
so
don't want to, or they're like, "Oh no, it's a lie. It can't be fixed."
Well,
No. This
it's
is
there.
the cultural shift.
And
We're no
yeah.
longer waiting for permission.
No.
and so it happens on three fronts, and I think we have to have compassion for ourselves and for each other. So there's one of three reasons that somebody is not able to sort of like connect with themselves and get in the game, right? There's either a mental reason or a connection, sort of spiritual reason, or there's a physical obstacle of some kind, geography, money, other factors in your life, pressures
Yeah.
and things like that, right? And so the truth is that, like, I think because we've heard artists talking about this for a long time, so we know sort of like, and Carl Sagan had his like pale blue dot speech thing, and like so we got Wakanda, we got the Venus Project, we get this idea of like, oh, it could be cool and easy, and so we know that it's possible, and it seems that covering the ground between here and there has been the big conundrum.
It's the
Right.
hardest part. 'Cause
Well, yeah, and it's because it's so multidimensional is why it's so tricky. I think that's what we're really coming to, is that each human being is a multidimensional universe in and of themselves, and that comes with, for one, the enormous creative power that can be constructive in the world or destructive in the world, depending on what this person's experience is, and then they refract that back out in the world. And so we all play a large role in what choices they get to choose from in their life,
Or
and so,
what they end up having to react to.
or what they have to react to. And so I think one of the big things that's come around for me recently that I think the Lovengers we get to start having this conversations like this as like the main thing we're doing, whereas with a lot of other things it's sort of a tangential thing, and I think that a lot of people are itching for this, like, okay, well, I don't like talking about this stuff, but I kind of feel like we need to have a more substantive conversation than just like singing a song about it or talking about it, whatever. Like, and so to that end, the big thing that I think the Lovengers brings to the table here, and this idea brings to the table, is we got to think about how we're solving our problems differently. And you brought up the mass incarceration thing, and I wanted to use that as an example. So even though it doesn't, for a lot of people, it feels a little counterintuitive. The idea that how could more laws make us less safe? How could more police make us less safe? Right? These things like that, right? But if you sit and you look at the prison system, you can also see that, like, what a horrific for-profit monster this thing is.
Yeah.
And even written into the Constitution, it is the industrialized, legalized current practice of slavery here in the country, right? And so then, but we don't have a better way of solving our societal problems right now than writing a law and then using that piece of paper to go with guns and go lock somebody in a cage or gun them down over the thing we wrote down because there was a problem, and that's the one procedure we got for it. I'll write you up and somebody will come violate you about it. And so you see people on both sides of various political, cheering when somebody gets thrown in jail. And I'm like, we know what that place is, right?
Yeah.
How can you, in that moment, be the good guy while you're cheering for somebody to go to that place? Clearly, the problem needs to be solved, but this is the only thing that we can think of, in terms of accountability, is just, I'm just going to abuse you, instead of and there's, of course, there are other schools of thought, and that's the point, is that we're really in a contracted state of fear, which is why love is the antidote, because in a state of fear, you contract your thoughts, your mind, your options, your everything. And so we've got these big problems that need big creative solutions, and we're just stop, it's just, we got this just mentality. And we can be, for each other, sort of a shield that gives a break from that long enough for us to sort of, and by meeting each other's needs in that way and stabilizing people, not only does that make us all more secure because people are more stable, right? It also then culturally puts people in a position where they're no longer on the defensive, and that's much easier space for them to evolve their practices and their way of thinking and their life and everything like that. So
because they're no longer in survival mode,
right? And so, and so there it is. If we want things to get better, we got to be really honest with ourselves about what better means. And it can't be, you can't build better out of shit.
No, it's just more shit.
It's just more shit, right?
A lot of the problem I see, just from my experiences, is change. People are afraid of it. People are so integrated into being just one thing that when you try to tell them, hey, you could do this, and they don't want to even do that because that's change to them.
Yeah.
And you can't always fix that or get that. It's hard.
It
is hard to change. It took a song, music, that I heard when I was young, when I was in my 20s, that made me change, be a better person. Every time I would hear that song, I would be like, yeah, I needed to. Every time I was down or something was going wrong, that song was, and that song is called Change by Blind Melon. And that song is one of their songs that always hit me as, I don't need to be that way no more. I can change.
Yeah.
I don't have to stay that way. I can work harder. I don't want to sometimes, but I had to change and do that.
Yes.
To make this happen.
Yes.
And that's hard for people to do. Some people just can't do it or don't want to do it, is the bottom line.
Yeah.
And you can't force them to.
No.
It's like with an addiction.
But you can make it so much
great
easier.
example.
So the thing is, I love. I'm such a nerd about biology, neuroscience, and all that stuff, because by understanding our innate selves, then we can actually use that to our benefit. So the whole thing with the change thing, it's really hard, especially when we come at it from a place of what we were taught. We are taught from an institutionalized place, which is from the mind, not from the heart, not from processing or from feeling, because largely our culture is feeling is bad and so on and so forth, right? So when we are able to see the representation or get permission through someone else's medium, whether it be their art, them speaking, them standing up and talking to whomever they needed to talk to, and we saw that courage, and we're like, I needed to see that, because now I know it is possible for whatever the case is. Right, Ever?
Yeah.
We're all Superman.
You know?
We're all Superman. Yeah.
So we all need to see a Superman and have a Superman. And sometimes we don't realize that we always were Superman because someone else sees us that way.
Right.
Meaning we have powers that maybe we have undervalued within ourselves or haven't fully discovered or acknowledged. And we're like, oh, I guess I could just help with that, can't I? Click. And then someone's like, thank you. And you meet all the difference. And if all of us can do that, because all of us have different powers and different ranges and different whatever the case is, then that facilitates a movement in such a way that we are not stuck. So part of fixing the world is we can't do it by ourselves. We literally need to be in co-creation and collaboration. And the third word is cooperation. This is where I know for fact, it can and will change, and that this is the methodology, because this is the reason why populations all around the world in the most disparaged places have survived despite the thwarts of what they have to undergo every single day to even live, is because of cooperation, period, bar none. And so to understand that humanity even got to this point because of groups of people that did cooperation, but what we're actively doing is opposite of that, which is this very single, contracted, single thing. We're like, okay, so we need to make it something that is so wide and big anybody can connect with it. We really have increased the accessibility so that we can really practice radical inclusion. So we need to take these things from like a thought process to like a practice, because anything you do over time compounds. We actually did a really cool podcast episode with this guy from Ukraine about that very concept, where that's exactly how change is. It's literally one action done again and again and again and again through that consistency that creates the overall cumulative change. And so it's like, so if we then, between ourselves, the connections we make with other people, literally elevate, educate, and empower ourselves and then each other, because we need to be our powerful self in order to be able to empower. Now, let me say that again, because I used to think to myself like, let me just help, let me just give, because that itself is the power, when I'm the one who's weak doing it. Now I'm doing the weakened version of it, as opposed to being now fully in my essence, fully in my power, and I'm acting and doing things in that. So, that's why ourselves and each other is that critical component, versus we just live to go do it for other people. No, like, what is your divine essence that literally turns you on, that is a energetic well that you literally can just like wield and do? That is the medicine that you need and the world needs. That's the very thing that you said, like, whenever you needed change, imagine if those people didn't have the means, or just didn't answer their soul's call to make that song. You see what I mean? Like, there's a lot of us who literally walk away from our creative ideas and refuse to birth them, because what may someone think? What if it's not that good? What if? And it's like, well, who are you to do that? What if that was the very thing that was needed for someone else to birth a new version of themselves? Who are you to think that, like, your thing is so not divine enough that you're going to take that away from someone else potentially? So then I realized, like, okay, well, how about, like, let me fully be me, because, like, whatever that does to the earth, like, it's only going to do positive, and through that vibration is the vibration that just creates change, because it is change.
Yeah, and what's cool about it is when it's done the right way, you don't actually have to be super conscious about it. Part of what I think is nice about the music element, and I like that, to Audrey's point, that you may find as you dig down, for me, it was the music, and for the people who made the song that, like, impacted you, it was music. But for some people, it's their cooking, or their storytelling, or they really like birds or something. You know what I mean? Like, whatever the thing is, and like, there's enough of us doing enough things in the world where, the more we break down these barriers and we can actually have access to ourselves and to each other, then it's like, I really need somebody who's like super good with birds. You know what I mean? And it's like, there's somebody in Milwaukee who just like and loves it, and we got him on Facebook, on TikTok or something like that. And so it's like, that's a great example. And if you're somebody who's like, this stupid bird thing is just, and there's an example.
Pay attention to it, though.
Exactly.
You can always just, okay, that's not my thing.
Yes.
We're gonna do this instead.
That's called abundance, right
Yeah.
there.
And there's two kind of neat things that I saw happen where that's concerned. One is that Audrey accidentally lost a bunch of weight. She wasn't trying to do it right. And this is probably a story for another time, but just the idea that you could accidentally do that by changing all these other factors in you. She changed all these other factors in life, and if it,
Johnny knows I've lost a shit ton of weight.
Yeah.
since I
Yes.
Yeah, okay,
Well,
there-
and because the shift was the trying and forcing it to happen, meaning we did not allow the existence for what was,
right,
which
constantly
then
trying to
just
force it to be
gave
something that's not.
resistance for what we wanted.
Right.
Yeah.
So here it is. It's like I was approaching life and weight loss as this like putting energy in this thing, so I'm supposed to get it out a certain way, completely just acknowledging the what's in front of my face in the first place,
Yeah.
and fully becoming aware of how we got here, and then remedying those things. And so when I let go of the idea of weight loss, and I was like, oh, whatever, I want a functional body. I want to literally have a great quality of life in my functional body. I want, so I started like wanting different things. And then I also started to just live in gratitude, because I was like, wow, if I was in a wheelchair right now, like that alone would be worse than my situation right now, not even including the weight. I'm happy then about my legs working, and I'm at this weight. And so just those little notions of like being grateful, of like loving myself exactly as I was right here, right now, was the first step. And then I would ask myself, well, what do I need? And that was the first time I was like relating and connecting with myself in such a way where, like, how you parent a child. Like, if they're crying, what do you need? Oh, let me take care of the thing. And just like with anything, like a plant, lo and behold, it'll thrive. So that was my only focus, was just like, loving me better and being well. That's it. I let go of the idea of like the Beyonce body, the Michelle Obama arms, the this and this and that, the things that I actively effing wanted. And it's just fascinating because I was so focused on just wellness, feeling good, doing good, that then when I stop and look, I'm like, oh, I got the thing I wanted. And I wasn't even trying. And it was like a surprise. So it's like realizing, life puts you in the place that you always asked and wanted to be. And if you feel like you're not at the place you wanted to be, what resistance is keeping you there, and what do you need to learn and let go in order to move on?
Yeah.
And so through that, like, learning, and through my life, and just all of that all together, realizing that, like, my story is powerful because it can transform someone else's life just like I've transformed my own. And so, being able to put it in a medium and information where someone else can see that as representation, or even something that gives them permission to get curious and just to kind of see where their life goes from there, that's it. Like, that's it. And so, again, already got to see that dividend with that librarian, being like, did something new because I saw you. And I'm like, oh,
so
that's cool. Let's do that with the whole world. And let's have that, like, make the world better.
And so I think that's sort of like part of like the specific thing that we do is we help other people unlock their superpowers. It's a little bit like the X-Men, right? So like we're like the X-Men going around taking on shit in the world, fixing problems, and then teaching other people to do this, to help do whatever your power is. And I think the one thought I just wanted to sort of, I guess, I don't know how late we're trying to drive this train, but I had a cool little thought about that thing, how obscure your superpowers can be and be useful. I the thing about the birds I said, and I was like, I actually had a better idea after that. There was a documentary I saw about these divers, these cave divers. It was their hobby, right? They didn't take it super. I mean, they took it very seriously, but they thought of it as a hobby.
Everyone in their life criticized each of these individual people who were international divers, and just did this thing that wasn't their career. It was just what they did for fun, because it was so crazy, so extreme, so whatever. But
dangerous.
for them, it was a passion. It was where their mind and their heart and everything was synced, and it felt
where
and
their
it
Zen
felt
fucking
good.
happened, right?
Yes.
And so, lo and behold, a situation comes in where in the world, where across the world, on the other side of the globe, there's this exact specific bizarre situation where there were some kids trapped in a cave that then got flooded.
And they needed divers.
And they needed
Specifically trained
because
cave divers.
And because these guys were doing it as a hobby, they had been training for this exact thing, and like the military divers that they were trying to put in just couldn't do it. They couldn't,
their equipment wasn't even made for it. A couple of them died.
Yeah.
And these are like SEALs who are supposed to be drown proof.
Right. I mean, these people are amazing.
So
at this
that
stuff.
really goes to show what that means when you're made for this.
Right.
And there's every single thing about our life that we've ever done. Nothing is an accident.
Yeah.
And that's what I've realized. Like, I didn't have the thought that I would be here living life like this, even though as a little girl, this is exactly what I said I wanted. I didn't know it would look like this, and so I followed the program and really did the typical thing, life, marriage, professional thing. And then now only to realize that every single experience I've ever had up to this point literally made me perfectly suited to be able to do the things that I need to be doing and want to be doing as a version of myself in the future, which, it's like, oh, I was made for this. Like, I'm exactly the person and the only person who can do that thing, which is why it's got to be me. So it's like, okay. And I'm not the only person. Like, at first I was like, oh, that's so conceited of you. That's so, like, whatever. And I'm like, no, actually, each and every human, every
Everybody's
person,
got their own
actually.
thing. You built this place, right? So it's a great example of, like, you following your passion and us following ours. And this is where we meet in the middle and create something of value.
Yeah.
Tangentially
and
like
look,
that.
This co-creation right here that we're able to put on video.
Yeah, and it's amazing. You guys are amazing for being a part of it and just coming all the way.
Thank you for having us.
Be here. It means a lot to me whenever anybody does that. Just even when they drive down the road to be here, it's because I love doing this. I really enjoy being around the music and not being able to have the means of doing it when I was younger and learning it or even thinking it as a process and just saying, asking the wife, hey, I need to do music somehow. And her giving me first it was an attic, then that's over there, and then building this. It's not been easy, even on a relationship, but she understands the passion. She knows what it's about, and to be able to have that is great because I meet so many.
The burgers for the bands all
she used to make the burgers too for everybody, and being able to do that because of her and allowing this to happen and meeting all the great people we meet. She realizes it sometimes. Those are some awesome people you had up here the other day. I love talking to them, and that's just a great thing to see her open up to that.
Oh,
Know that there is something from this. She won't be on camera though.
Hey, that's the thing, because that's the
clearly to be on it. I won't pay her to be on it.
Yeah.
If I catch her on something, I'm like, hey, I caught you on camera.
Yeah. You see how your passion, literally though, like, it's not just a hobby.
No.
We will never know the true, like the ongoing ripple that right here, right now, this moment in time will have on someone, even after we're gone, which is such an incredible thing that, like, through unconditional love and nurturing, like, the things about ourselves that feed us and give life to our soul and to our beingness is the essence of just, like, how, beauty in nature continues to, like, proliferate. And so, this being built, the fact that, through that, now she vicariously, I'm sure she didn't realize that she would have enjoyed and loved the experiences of these people you got to meet because of you following your passion. And what drew them to even come here was even the thing you build. You see all these little puzzle pieces, which is where it's like, oh, all of us have a role to play in this huge ass tapestry of human life. And it all starts with like the passion and the vision that we have within our mind and within our hearts. And when we talk ourselves down and we like do the program instead, now that's a hole in like the potential possibility of what could have turned out.
Right.
So
other people who need you now, you're
that,
not online for it.
That's a part of the timeline that won't ever exist because we just chose that the program was the safer bet than to follow, the thing that would give our soul joy and actually do what we were meant to be here on this planet.
Well, sometimes it's like that, Sometimes people are stuck, like legitimately stuck for a bit.
I was.
Some people are.
I
was stuck many times. I've been stuck many times in my life.
Yeah.
I'm very happy to be alive at a time where folks are evolving to really understand that how we feel on the inside fucking matters.
Oh my gosh.
And waking up all around the world in different ways to how much power you actually do have when you really are just completely authentic.
Yep.
Yeah, upfront,
whether you group together to play music or you group together to protest, like really we're going to have to get to this point where we realize we're all like shooting for the same things with our own filters and our own experiences. And I'm so grateful for like how all of this stacked up. I never could have imagined like first of all like just reaching out to DMP and saying like, hey, you're looking for a producer, like what do they need to do? Oh, just book bands. I could do that. Like, I've never done shit like that before, too. Like, me quitting and then you quitting right behind me. I did not see that coming.
Well,
I thought you were just going to go back to doing the same thing you were doing to now, like, I fucking love your family. Y'all love the shit out of Jay.
Yeah.
Jawfane wouldn't have happened without HGS.
No, yeah. We've never really talked about it, but there really wasn't. I almost stuck with that. Knowing at the time it would fall apart with me a part of it, and there was no way, unless I took some sort of control, that I was not going to fight my friend for. It was going to fall apart. This would never have started, and at that moment I knew I have to do this. I have to. So when I was told by that person, go do your thing with her, we'll do our thing here,
it was exactly what you were asking for.
I was like honestly, he will not admit that he ever said that, but I have proof that he said that.
We have the receipts. They talk so much
and
shit.
To be told, go do your thing, we're going to do our thing. Spent 3 hours looking at the message, having it in my head, thinking, what should I do at work? Just pondering over it and deciding, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do that, my thing, and you do your thing. Let's work this out some other way. No discussion. All I got was anger out of it from the other side, and I just said, screw it, I'm not going to let it get to me. I'm going to change. Normally I would fight that anger, and I would, and I just said, no, change is good. When life gets hard,
that's where I was really learning, like, when shit falls apart in some big catastrophic way, even though you did everything you could, like, that was one of the times where it was just like, okay, yeah, I've seen this enough. Like, yeah, like, if something falls apart when I know I'm doing my fucking best, that just means, like, my best is for something better in that spot. And, like, everything that has happened as we let things just, like, flow, especially here with the studio, like, even the technical problems, we're in such a mind space of just, like, hey, that shit's going to happen and we're going to grow and it's still going to get to where it needs to. Like, it's so easy to just, like, let shit go. But then in that process, like, that's exactly what shining your light is. Like, you're just so very open to whatever comes up for you, whatever comes up for the situations that you're in, because you know, like, you've tasted it. You know, like, that's the real utopia. It's fucking within you.
Yes.
And then as you, like, separate yourself from situations you don't want to be in and then find the people who, like, vibe with you, then they get to come out and live that way more, and then you guys get to do bigger and bigger things together, greater than the sum of all the parts.
You know it.
And you're literally being the change in this way that like people are waking up to. This is how it has to change. It's never gonna come from the top. It's never gonna come from the top. It's never gonna come from the top. Clearly, I can't wait for AI to show everybody like undeniable, like it's just gonna be.
And it'll always be from the bottom.
And the thing is,
Robin Hood
we've always known.
Is the example of
It's
it
in
all.
our
He
DNA.
stole from the rich to give to the poor.
Yes, and we
That
literally
is a
have the
legend,
whole
and we-
stories and mythologies, like the scripts
We've been
already
saying
written.
this for a minute.
We're the actors in the real life.
Yeah,
like that's why
You
we're.
didn't read comic books, but you saw the movies. But the comic books, all of everything you're talking about, back in the 60s and 70s, were in the comic books. They were talking about that stuff then.
Yeah.
And people ignored it. They didn't want to see it. Fans loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it because at one point I was reading things that I didn't know was actually happening. And seeing things is like, no, that's not happening here. But then you find out, well, that's happening there.
Yeah.
And realizing, hey, wait, that's happening to me.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yep.
and it's like,
Ooh.
what can I do to stop that?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't need to be that person anymore.
Yeah.
This is so uncomfortable. I have to do something.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
it's that imaginary world is out there for that reason to show us these things. And we need that change in us as humans to become better and not fear that change, to make the world a better
So
place.
so here I actually have suggestions. As far as that goes, instead of protesting, not that I'm not going to disparage it. I'm just going to say it's a method that's been tried a lot and is still being used around the world, and that's fine. But it is just a tool, and it's a tool that has a lot of collateral damage
Yes.
associated with it, and it can sometimes be effective, but sometimes not. And so I think that there are ways that we can take that same energy and channel it into things like art and music, but also shit like economics, y'all.
Yeah.
Like, we can be working collaboratively, jamming economically, like making it rain equity, like
Invest
the
in
Joker
each
in the
other.
Batman movie. Just, invest in each other. And
The
that shit
Joker's
is-
not always wrong.
No, he's not.
He's right. So Thanos wasn't always wrong either.
No, that's
They
well.
were right on some points, but
Well,
their
Thanos was
approach
right.
to it was
Thanos
kinda
was right about the
wrong.
problem. He was not right about the solution.
Yeah,
But-
he was right about the problem,
but-
not the solution.
But that's the thing, is that there's these truths are things that even if you hear somebody who's full of shit, a lot of times they still will acknowledge a thing that, like, when you stop and sit and think about it, it's like, yeah, that's a problem, right? I can see why there's a problem from your point of view or whatever. And so, like, you know, we have to grapple with the fact that chances are the right answer is not the one that feels like it's the one that's going to feel good to our ego. It's going to be the one that feels good when it's done.
Yeah.
Like, you know, when it's...
Go into it without an ego.
Yeah. Well, because your ego's not for that. It's for
No.
other things.
No,
And
it's not
it's
for that.
important to have one, you know, the idea, well, as we define it or whatever, but the idea that you can conjure some confidence in yourself about something you've never done before, right? Things like that, or like your sense of self and like who you are and what you like and what you do, whatever. These are all like elements of your ego. But it's a function of objectification, right? You have to objectify everything in order to conceptualize it. Otherwise, it's amorphous. It doesn't have figure, right? It's the anyway. So, in doing so, we sometimes forget that, like, these are all concepts, the roles that we play, the concept of mother, father, police officer, protester, you know, whatever, all of these things, whatever country you're from, whatever title you hold, is just a made-up category that we were like, okay, well, it would be kind of functional if we just identified these
human
things
this way
for
and human that
some of their
way, and-
But
differences.
you're still a human.
Yes.
But
No
at the end of the
matter
day,
what you do.
Correct.
and if you're
correct.
having trouble de-objectifying things, I like to do this. I like to say, instead of I'm not a human being, I am being human. And when you say it like that, now you're a verb,
Yeah.
and that changes a lot of things.
Which means you're ever changing and you're a frequency that's always vibrating. What's incredible about like the superhero comics and just all of that and what it lends itself is that, as you said, through imagination, like we need that in order to be able to like, envision something different. And so what's so cool is that like that for me is where I really started to understand or at least feel more of the like representation and permission that provides. And through the imaginary lens of like, okay, so Captain Marvel realized that like the supreme intelligence is just this like program, and that she actually knows who she is underneath, and she no longer is just going to be just like a part of the program. And so she makes a conscious attempt to fight it, despite the fact that it is difficult. It literally fights her. It's ingrained in her brain and in her body. And like so many things about my just like upbringing, existence, and all of that has really resonated with that. Only come to realize that these stories are the stories of our human selves, and like there's no feeling or experience that I'll ever have that another person, if not another Black woman somewhere else in the world or on the planet, has not felt or had. So then I realized, like, okay, so I'm not reinventing the wheel in this sense. If anything, I can see now like these commonalities, and by understanding how this character moved and was able to overcome in this fictionalized thing, can give me tangible tools to understand how I can move around and do likewise in my real life. And just realizing like, oh, we do a lot of like dreaming in imaginary world. What if we like utilize the seed of imagination and like lived through that, as opposed to like going and visiting the world and having fun and then coming back to the real world only to practice our programs? What if the core essence vibration of what we imagine of ourselves and of the world that we want to see, we lived through that? So, it's like, let's have the audacity to be real life superheroes.
Yeah.
Like for real, meaning like that's our day job.
Yeah.
I am a human being, or being human rather, and every essence that I am being in my humanness, I have devoted it towards making the world a better place. So whether it's me writing poetry, setting up on music, meditating, literally talking to people in Haiti and organizing supply runs, like what are like superheroing doesn't have to be only the way that we've seen it done in the comic books. It's also in the small ways of where we pour into ourselves, so we're better versions of ourselves, and then we end up having compassion for something or someone or situation that we otherwise wouldn't have, because we had the time that we needed in order to be able to not react and be retrospective. Like all these things literally have cumulative effects on how like the world is perceived with all of us, which then means how the actual reality is collectively experienced. And so just through that, then we could change the collective frequency and the collective experience. Boom. That's it. It's that easy. It's that easy.
Conversation our audience needs to hear.
Well, and the superpowers, just like with the X-Men, they come in three different. I like to say these days, I like the three different flavors, right? So there's the mind, the spirit, and the body superpowers, right?
Yeah.
And they all like. You can get the better of the guy. You can get like the for instance Magneto, right? So Magneto can control all this metal. He can do all this kind of crazy shit, right? The telekinesis that comes from that is incredible. And yet he has to wear this protective helmet because anytime he wants to, his old buddy Charles can literally stop him, change his entire life and just make him do whatever he wants in an instant. And so to see that like this massive magnetic power that can do all these incredible larger than life things without even touching them,
than to be so easily, surpassed by a guy who's in a wheelchair who just thinks real hard. And even still, there's a guy who's indestructible, who's got metal in his bones, and he outlives all of these other people, right? And so it goes to show that there's mind, there's body, there's spirit. I think spirit is probably better described as like connection. But there are some people who have like really, we all sort of have little basic powers in all of these. That's what it is to be human. But our superpowers, our most prominent powers, manifest in sort of one of these three categories. And I think sometimes the reason that we don't act or we don't get out in the world and like make it a better place is because we feel powerless. And part of the reason we feel powerless is because we're often looking at power scales bigger than us when we compare ourselves, and we say,
Our
I'm not
relativity.
powerful.
We're like,
Right.
we can't bring down that building.
Right, and it's like, well, actually...
As if that's the only ones that exist, and there's nothing beneath that.
Well, and so, when you look down the power scale, now you see these are the children in my care, the animals in my care, these are the employees that work for me, or the client who's sitting in front of me, midwifery client or whatever, And so in these moments now, you have differential power over another being or over a situation or something like that. And now you are in that moment the most powerful being on that scale. That's where your power is. So don't take don't try to take your big muscles and go up against the telepath. That's not, you need protection for that. You got to be geared up for that. You need help for that. And don't be the telepath and try to just like run and do everything on your own, because sooner or later, like somebody's gonna have to stop you, or somebody's, so we all keep each other in this kind of neat check. And so wherever you feel powerless, you may be powerless relative to somebody who's more powerful than you in the mind space. Let's say, my superpower is the mind thing. I come across somebody who outsmarts me. I'm like, oh, okay, so great, but then what else do I have going for it? And you see it all the time in the movies. It's like, oh, well, the villain's technically won, but he doesn't have friends because he's an asshole, and that's why he loses the day, right? So, like, you can see in there, the social capital gets called into play, and now that is a power that trumps the one power of the one guy. Yes, absolutely. It really is. And frankly, that is an area that has been a challenge for me. Some of my superpowers have come at the expense of my ability to conjure social capital. So
I don't do a lot of social.
No, but you don't have to. Just being you
It's
and
the
building a
vibe.
space and
It's
being
the
warm
vibe.
and friendly is what does it.
Funny, because I was always the shy one who wouldn't do what you see me at a party. I'm the guy in the back, watching what's going on, not the guy doing all the funny stuff, or even playing music. I didn't want to get up on stage and play music. Really, I'd rather just be in the studio doing it. So it's a change for me to even be at this part of it, and where I'm at what I'm doing.
I appreciate
and
that.
I enjoy every time it happens, every time
Yes.
artists come in here, every time musicians come in here and do this, come here to even be a part of it. And when y'all give me all the love you give me, it's not just me though. There's her, there's my wife.
Oh, it's a team sport.
Yeah,
and I love it.
my kids even, because they're supportive of it. They do what they can to help out. So to know that's there and that we do have all that love out there from people is takes away any of the negativity that I do have out there from people that are negative towards me. I don't let it bother me. Say what you want. I don't care. Anybody that believes that, stay with them. I don't care. If you want to know, come ask. I'm not going to hide behind something. I'll tell you the truth up front. If I hurt your feelings, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to. I'll tell you exactly how I feel about something, exactly how something went down. If something makes me look bad, I'm going to tell you. I was asked once a long time ago, if you ever ran for president, what would you do if they asked you if you smoked pot? I'm not going to lie about it. I want y'all to vote for me because of my honesty. I want y'all to like me because of my honesty. What's the point of hiding? If I've done something wrong, I'm going to tell you I did this wrong. I've done wrong. It happens. That's life. We do that.
The human experience.
Exactly.
Exactly.
We're human. We can't help it. but we can learn from it.
Yeah.
We can become better.
Exactly.
We don't have to keep doing
And
it.
that's more interesting anyway,
Exactly.
right? Like
Yeah,
that's a
being
cooler,
better.
that's a more interesting end to that story. Well, not that there's anything wrong with smoking weed, but like if there's a like anytime there's something that's like, oh, that was not my best self or whatever, and then you can learn and grow from that, and then when you have that to share, when you recall on that, it's like, oh yeah, I learned this lesson, and it's like, damn, well then that was like. You turn that L into a W. That's
so exactly.
that's pretty dope.
So when you, as you said, we can, we can be better, we can do better. That ultimately is the whole idea of transformation.
Yeah.
That is a whole, like the fact that we can be better and do better is the power right there.
Yeah.
To actually
Right there.
do it
Yeah.
is the power.
Correct.
There's people that'll say it.
Yes.
That'll talk about it. They'll be like, I could do that. Promote it even. But they're not doing it. They're just using that as their shield to stay that person they want to be or that bad or hide behind so they can be.
And you know what? That sometimes some people need to be late adopters, or sometimes people will just, always be the ones hiding behind the rock. And maybe, at the end of the day, when everything is all won and, the heroes are out there celebrating the amazingness it was to participate in shining their light and making the world a better place, everyone else will literally be like, oh, I hid behind a rock. It was a cool show though, or whatever their case is. And like, it doesn't really matter, because at the end of the day, like majority wins. It just becomes a vibration where we don't need permission. We just are going to go out and just be it and do it.
Yeah.
Like that's it. Because like, why not? And I'm choosing to. Like, how powerful is that? How powerful is that?
Well, and
Jeez, 124.
oh crikey! All right, well we'll go ahead and
we
wrap
need
it
to
up.
Wrap this up.
So, but anyway, I think if we're just leading with compassion for ourselves and for others, good things will come out of that.
Yes.
Yep.
That's what life is all about. I want to thank you all for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Amazing set. Everybody watched the set after the commercial break. Thank everybody who was a part of this. Thank
I
you
knew
guys.
you would like them.
Thank you guys for being here. This is the latest we've been in all season.
Oh snap! I know. I
Great
thought this was gonna be really.
conversation.
Yes.
Thank
Well, thanks again. Now we just got to come back and do it again sometime.
I would love
yeah.
to.
There's a
party going
I
on.
would love to. I would love to.
All right. Well,
All right.
I guess we're gonna
Au
bust a move.
revoir.
All
Thanks
right.
again,
Thank
you guys.
Y'all enjoy the commercial out there.
Love it. All right, I gotta go to the restroom.
Awesome
I gotta
stuff.
draw on
I
the
gotta
wall,
pee too.
and then we gotta pack up and bust a move.
Get it down here. Do I need to do? You gonna handle this?
Yeah.
Cool.
Thank you so much.
All right, we are already
I am
loaded in
so
that wagon. Well, girl, it's not just you. I was thinking that maybe it was just me. So.
No, I've gotten a little bit chilly myself, and I'm like, I meant to turn.
Hey, what's up? This is Miranda from LS Music Promotions. LS Music Promotions is a concert promoter and booking agency from Owensboro, Kentucky. We put on concerts, help bands with show booking, and work with venues to remain full of talent. Our goal is to help grow the local music scene and to support musicians. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube, LS Music Promo, to stay up to date with us. Together, we rock.
to shoulder marching in the street. When you're all alone, it's a quiet breeze, but when you stand together, it's a choir of thunder and rain. Now we have a choice. I have a voice.
I'm not living to die. Don't stand in a wasteland. Look at me in the eye. Stop living a lie and stand up next to me. You gotta put one foot in front of the other with a hand in a hand, holding on to each other. Go on and rejoice while you have a voice.
It is loud, it is clear, it's stronger than our fears. It's believing we belong, it's for calling out the wrong. From the silence of my sisters to the violence of my brother, we can rage against the river, feel the pain of another. I have a voice. I have a voice, and I let it speak for the ones who aren't yet really free. It's killing me. No one is saying what we need to hear. I will not let silence win, and I see all of the pain our people are in. There's no other choice. I have a voice.
It is loud, it is clear, it's stronger than your fear. It's believing you belong, it's for calling out the wrong. From the mouths of our mothers to the lips of our daughters, we can dream like our brothers, speaking out like our fathers. We can hear you. Can you hear us? Can you hear us now?
I have a voice. Started out as a whisper, turned into a scream, made a beautiful noise. Shoulder to shoulder, marching in the street. When you're all alone, it's a quiet breeze, but when you stand together, it's a choir of thunder and rain. Now we have a choice. I have a voice.
Now we have a choice, 'cause I have a voice.
Now we have a choice, 'cause I have a voice.
Thank you. All right. This song is about the journey of self-discovery that we're all on, whether we like it or not. You talk a good game, you got some great lines, I'm sure you mean it, but then your moves lie. Guess you don't know who's living inside. Hope you figure it out, see you on the other side. The other side. Ooh, every time it starts the same old story with a different name. All new players on a brand new stage with a page from a rewrite of the old refrain. Lock eyes from across the room, heartbeat drops and you feel the boom. Sex is better than you ever had. Can't get enough so you don't look back. You talk a good game, you got some great lines. Sure you mean it, but then your moves lie. Guess you don't know who's living inside. Hope you figure it out, see you on the other side. The other side. Ooh, now a few's down the line, right when everything feels like it's going alright. When you wake up in the morning, you look to the side, familiar face, but you don't recognize it. Wondering what happened, where did it go wrong? You and me living right or die, but now it's all gone. You talk a good game, you got some great lines. Sure you mean it, but then your moves lie. Guess you don't know who's living inside. Hope you figure it out, see you on the other side. Oh, the other side. Oh, change each other. We grow to match life, sometimes together or in our own time, always in motion. You'll never be the same someone tomorrow that you were yesterday. Oh, 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 see you on the other side. Oh, see you on the other side. Talk a good game, you got some great lines, I'm sure you mean, but then your moves lie. Guess you don't know who's living inside. See you on the other side. We change each other and we grow to match life, sometimes together and or in our own time, always in motion, and you'll never be the same someone tomorrow that you were today. Today. Thank you. You wearing the same key? That's an important detail. Sounds like it.
I figured let's just jam and riff on it for a little bit. Don't you know, talking about a revolution sounds like a whisper. Don't you know, talking about a revolution sounds like a whisper. I've been standing in the welfare lines. I've been crying at those doorsteps of those armies of salvation, wasting time in the unemployment lines. Stand around, wait for a promotion. Don't you know, talking about a revolution sounds like a whisper. Poor people gonna rise up and get their share. Gonna get their share. Ooh, gonna get there. All people gonna rise up and make what stands. Gonna make what stands. Ooh, gonna make it there. Don't you know you better run, 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 run. Don't you know you better run, 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 run. Finally the tables are starting to turn, talking about a revolution. Finally the tables are starting to turn, talking about a revolution. I've been standing in the welfare lines. I've been crying at those doorsteps of those armies of salvation, wasting time in the unemployment lines. Stand around, wait for a promotion. Don't you know, talking about a revolution sounds like a whisper. Don't you know you better run, 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 run. Don't you know you better run, 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 run. Finally the tables are starting to turn, about an evolution. Talking about an evolution. Talking about an evolution. There's a mask in the pile of your clothes in the middle of the floor, like a shield strapped on every day when you're walking out the door. 'Cause everybody knows that the wolves are looking for the prey, and they tear you down from the inside out, leaving nothing left if you don't get away. You see they're standing in the scarlet, there's nothing left for you to hide behind. Found the truth buried beneath the light. Oh, standing in the scarlet. Oh, 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 oh. Standing in the scarlet. Oh, 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 oh. Standing in the scarlet. Seen all of your so-called victory, but your body language tells me they've been oh so bittersweet. But it's like living in the shadow of yourself and never getting out. Nobody sees the person behind the curtain, so I'm tearing it all down right here and now. I see they're standing in the scarlet. There's nothing left for you to hide behind. I found the truth buried beneath the light. Oh, standing in the scarlet. Oh, 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 oh. Standing in the scarlet. Oh, 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 oh. Standing in the scarlet. Don't pretend like you're the only one. Know that I gotta know that somehow. Sit through all the lies and now I figured it all out. You want to be alone? No, I know what you really don't. 'Cause inside us we're both the same. That's what I've been trying to say. Whenever you're ready to let it go, now all you gotta do is pick up the phone. See they're standing in the starlight. There's nothing left for you to hide behind. Found the truth buried beneath the light. Oh, standing in the scarlet. Oh, 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 oh. Standing in the scarlet. Oh, 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 oh. Standing in the scarlet. Thank you, thank you. Well, you almost had me fooled. Told me that I was nothing without you. I think I gotta take a half step up.
Okay, let's bring it back.
Well, you almost had me fooled. Told me that I was nothing without you. And after everything you've done, I can thank you for how strong that I've become. You brought the flames and you put me through hell. I had to learn how to fight for myself. And we both know all the truth I could tell. I'll just say this is I wish you farewell. I hope you're somewhere praying. I hope hope your soul is changing. I hope you find your peace, falling on your knees, praying. I'm proud of who I am. No more monsters, I can breathe again. And you said that I was done. Well, you were wrong, and the best is yet to come. I can make it on my own. And I don't need you, I found strength I've never known. I'll bring thunder, I'll bring rain. And when I'm finished, they won't even know your name. You brought the flames and you put me through hell. I had to learn how to fight for myself. And we both know all the truth I can tell. I'll just say this is I wish you farewell. I hope you're somewhere praying. I hope your soul is changing. I hope you find your peace, falling on your knees, praying. Oh, sometimes I pray for you at night. Oh, someday maybe you'll see the light. Oh, some say in life you get what you give, but some things only God can forgive. I hope you're somewhere praying. I hope your soul is changing. I hope you find your peace, falling on your knees, praying. It started out down a dirty road. It started out all alone, and the sun went down as I crossed the hill. And the town lit up, oh, and the world got still. Yeah, I'm learning to fly, but I ain't got wings. Coming down, oh, is the hardest thing. And the good old days, they may not return, and the rocks might melt, oh, oh, and the sea may burn. Yeah, learning to fly, but I ain't got wings. Coming down, oh, oh, is the hardest thing. Yeah, yeah.
it'll beat you down. It'll break your heart and steal your crown. So I started out, oh, but God knows where. Well, I guess I'll know, when I get there. Yeah, yeah, learning to fly around the clouds. What goes up, yeah, well, it must come down. I'm learning to fly, but it ain't got wings. Coming down, is the hardest thing. Thank you. You have my heart, we'll never be worlds apart. Maybe in magazines, but you still be my star. Baby, 'cause in the dark, you can't see shiny cars. That's when you need me there. With you I'll always share. Because when the sunshine will shine together, told you I'll be here forever. Said I'll always be your friend. Took an oath I would stick it out to the end. Now that it's raining more than ever, know that we'll still have each other. You can stand under my umbrella. You can stand under my umbrella. Ella, Ella, hey, hey. Under my umbrella, Ella, Ella, hey, hey. Under my umbrella, Ella, Ella, hey, hey. Under my umbrella, Ella, hey, hey. And these fancy things will never come in between. You're part of my entity, here for infinity. When the war has took its part, when the world has dealt its cards, and if the hand is hard, together we'll mend your heart. Because when the sunshine will shine together, told you I'll be here forever. Said I'll always be your friend. Took an oath I'ma stick it out to the end. Now that it's raining more than ever, know that we'll still have each other. You can stand under my umbrella. You can stand under my umbrella. Ella, Ella, hey, under my umbrella. Ella, Ella, hey, hey, under my umbrella. Ella, Ella, hey, hey, under my umbrella. Ella, hey, you can run into my arms. It's okay, don't be alone. Come into me, there's no distance in between. Our love, gonna let the rain pour. I'll be all you need and more. Oh, because when the sunshine will shine together, told you I'll be here forever. Said I'll always be your friend. Took an oath I'ma stick it out to the end. Now that it's raining more than ever, know that we'll still have each other. You can stand under my umbrella. You can stand under my umbrella. Ella, Ella, hey, under my umbrella, Ella, Ella, hey, hey, under my umbrella, Ella, Ella, hey, under my umbrella, Ella, hey, it's raining, ooh, baby, it's raining. Baby, come into me, come into me. It's pouring rain, it's pouring rain. Come into me, come into me. Thank you. That's a lot of fun. That's a new thing.
Yeah.
All right, we'll just jump right in. Oh, 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 oh. Sometimes I'm lucid for the time that it takes me to remember my dreams. Just like a satellite, I fear I only function in the space between. So I stay out late with my friends. We'll have another round and we'll drink to the end. To the end of the world as we know it. Oh, last night for just a minute I could swear I found us in a better place. So I held it in until I choked on all the laughter we were giving away. And I stayed out late with my friends. We passed another joint and we sang to the end. To the end of the world as we know it. Oh. I can't remember how I got here anyway. Did this become my life? Oh, oh, oh. So I stay out late with my friends. We'll have another round and we'll sing to the end. To the end of the world as we know it. Oh, 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 sometimes I'm lucid for the time that it takes me to remember my dreams. Just like a satellite, I feel I only function in the space between. Smoke alarms are going on, flashing red like it's time to stop. flashing red like it's time to stop. Oh, 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 oh. I'm so fucking tired of hearing about all the same old things, the same 4 chords played on the same 6 strings, and everybody's out there trying to survive the scene. It's like a house fire they call the American dream. And when you're sleeping, you're sneaking in and robbing you blind, only to charge you in the morning for the use of your eyes, so they can lend you back your money when they get you to sign their promissory note to pay back all their interest on time. But the smoke alarms are going off, flashing red like it's time to stop. Smoke alarms are going off, flashing red like it's time to stop. Oh, 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 oh. So bear with me as I put it all together. Assemble another piece. A banker gives an order to kill somebody else overseas. On the news they say the murders are keeping us all free, but when you're locked up with your freedoms you could thank the police. I think nobody wants to face it, they know but don't want to see this way of life is just a game perpetuated by greed. They like to talk all other shit like that's how it's supposed to be. Rob the poor to feed the rich and they call it economy. But the smoke alarms are going on, flashing red like it's time to stop. Smoke alarms are going on, flashing red like it's time to stop. Oh, 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 oh. We keep walking through the fire, looking for the gold, burning with the ashes, blackening our souls. We keep walking through the fire, lit up like the stars, shiny little embers cover us in scars, walking through the fire. Let's take those lines across the sky. They're cold and haunted by all our former lives. We'll break them loose from ancient times, and maybe we could live again before we die. We keep walking through the fire, looking for the gold, burning with the ashes, blackening our souls. We keep walking through the fire, lit up like the stars, shining little embers cover us in scars, walking through the fire. So many times I've made up maze, only to find it led me to a center stage of hollow lines from tired plays and empty fits of sadness, jealousy and rage. We keep walking through the fire, looking for the gold, burning with the ashes, blackening our souls. We keep walking through the fire, lit up like the stars, shiny little embers cover us in scars,
through the fire, looking for the gold, burning with the ashes, with our babies in tow. We keep walking through the fire, lit up like the stars, shiny little embers cover us in scars, walking through the fire. But the smoke alarms, they're still going on. They're flashing red like it's time to stop. Smoke alarms are going off. They're flashing red like it's time to stop. Oh, 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 oh. Look up at the stars tonight, such an incredible sight. Let's just be here and now. If we can remember how, seems like we've been on the run since when we were little ones. I think maybe I lost myself. Do you feel like somebody else? All my money away, spend the rest of my days, break with the world of today for a beautiful place. All my money away, to spend the rest of my days living it out in a beautiful place. Oh, oh, in a beautiful place. Oh, in a beautiful place. There's always so many things that I wish that I could see happen right in front of me, and I'm tired of waiting. Somebody let me to think that I could do anything as long as I just believed it. So get ready, I'm gonna be it. All my money away, spend the rest of my days, break with the world of today for a beautiful place. All my money away, to spend the rest of my days living it out in a beautiful place. Oh, oh, in a beautiful place. 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 Ooh, I'd give all my money away, go broke, spending my days, break with the world of today for a beautiful place. All my money away, to spend the rest of my days living it out in a beautiful place. Oh, whoa, in a beautiful place. Oh, in a beautiful place. Oh, in a beautiful place. Oh, in a beautiful place. after wave, they came pouring over the walls, and there I stood, trembling hands, eyes on the darkness, heart on the line, heart on the line. Walking alone, the streets are haunted, empty-handed. We come back home to a 5-star cage with a window into the soul of a world passed down through misery and pain, tangled up in golden chains, face to face with the monster. Then, one by one, they came marching up from behind. They picked me up, dried my eyes, showed me the way back into the light, into the light, into the light. Family and friends, once infected, now expected to fall in line, marching along to a hymn of selfishness and lies. And as the fear falls, blackening the sky, raining poison into our minds, face to face with the other wave after wave, they'll come pouring over the walls. So we'll stand side by side until the morning. We hold the light. We are the light. We are the light. Now I got the thing in the right spot. Teamwork, dreamwork, y'all.
Yes.
Thank you so much. I'm having a spectacular time singing.
Yes, me too.
And I'm having a spectacular time singing for you. It's a wonderful night. Thank you. All right, here goes. Holy divine. I am holy. It's a knowing of my darkness and the light. My energy inside is holy, and I know it. I walk along a path of my own design, just to be divine. Holy, and it's showing through your darkness and your light. Your energy inside, it's holy, and I know it. May you rise up every day to see what you can shine, just to be divine. Holy, never knowing, we keep echoing through time all the ways of human life. We're holy when we know it. To elevate the vibe is to honor the life, is to be divine. Holy, it's a knowing of the darkness and the light. The energy's aligned, it's holy, and I know it. To rise up like a tree reaching to the sky is to be divine. Queen and the warrior, the sage and the preacher of the coming of the times. They stand on the outside like sentries watching over the space of the great inside. And oh, the winds of change roll across your weary face. Oh, the winds of change roll across your weary face. We live a life of love and find out one day everything will be okay. Friends and the family, the soul connected to the loved and lost, and the ones who've yet to come. The still of the moment, the stars look down on your face, shining back to you out on the plains. And oh, the winds of change roll across your weary face. Oh, oh, the winds of change roll across your weary face. We live a life of love and find that one day everything will be okay. Cold in the twilight, it yields to the warm embrace of the dawning sun. The shadows, they tower, stand tall as the day washes over the last of us. And oh, the winds of change roll across your weary face. Oh, oh, the winds of change roll across your weary face. Live a life of love and find out one day everything will be okay. Thank you, thank you. I feel like the guy from Princess Bride. You're like, this is the bit of despair. Don't even think of trying to escape.
Well, I won't back down. No, I
under the weight of the tide, rolling over your body like a thunderous cry. You can feel the panic sinking, setting deeper inside. There's nobody diving down to drag you into the light. So you close your eyes and imagine the sky. A moment in the sun before you meet your demise. Your feet touch the floor of the sea and aside. You can fight for your life or just lay down and die, but you keep your eyes on the prize. It's only you and your mind, here and now in this moment in time. Got one shot, one chance, and one life, so keep your eyes on the prize. Keep your eyes on the prize. It's only you and your mind, here and now in this moment in time. Got one shot, one chance, and one life, so keep your eyes on the prize. When you make it to the end of the road, broken down, tired, and with nothing to show, you can feel something new of your own design and drink to whoever's standing there by your side. It isn't over till the clock runs out. If you're still up and standing at the end of the round, you got a part to play and a shot to take. I tell 'em, fuck you, I'm not going down today. Keep your eyes on the prize, it's only you and your mind, here and now in this moment in time. Got one shot, one chance, and one life, so keep your eyes on the prize. Keep your eyes on the prize, it's only you and your mind, here and now in this moment in time. Got one shot, one chance, and one life, so keep your eyes on the prize. Keep your eyes on the prize, it's only you and your mind, here and now in this moment in time. Got one shot, one chance, and one life, so keep your eyes on the prize. Keep your eyes on the prize, it's only you and your mind, here and now in this moment in time. Got one shot, one chance, and one life, so keep your eyes on the prize. Oh, 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 oh. Thank you. I wrote this in Nashville here in 2007. I look around, it feels like the end is near. I wish that I could find a way to get us out of here, but I'm helpless, can't stop a tidal wave. Just another number, there's too many of us to save. But after the wars have ended, what remains? Humanity lost again, look to the sky for answers but never change. Don't you think that it's a shame? Open your eyes and see the world around you. When it's gone, you'll never get it back. What would it cost you? Look inside. Make a change, maybe save a life. The world around you, around you. Destruction and pain. There's another 100,000 people dying in vain, and it kills me all the ones who could make it change. There could be so many heroes, but they're turning away. After the wars have ended, Open your eyes and see the world around you. When it's gone, you'll never get it back. What would it cost you to look inside? Make a change, maybe save a life. The world around you, around you, around you, around you, around you, around you, around you. After the wars have ended, the prophets are made. Humanity lost again. Looking back now, was it worth the price that we paid? Don't you think that it's a shame? Open your eyes and see the world around you. When it's gone, you'll never get it back. What would it cost you to look inside? Make a change, maybe save a life. The world around you, around you, around you, around you, around you, around you, around you. All of your cars and all your money and every victory you claim, can't take them with you when you go. So call me a saint, call me a sinner, but I will stand and be delivered to the one thing, the only thing I know that I know. Oh, for sure that I know. Yeah, I know that I know. And it's love, 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 yeah, 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 yeah. And it's love, love, love. I'm not talking about men, I'm not talking about women, I'm not talking about your God or their God, or if you think he's coming again. I'm not talking about nations, but I'm talking about peace. I'm talking about a rich man, a poor man, and all the space in between. Oh, I'm not talking about color. Look a little closer and see. Yeah, yeah. See, it's about hope and faith and compassion and dignity. Yeah, it's about one man to another, like all men are brothers, and this whole world, it is our home. If we're stuck here together, maybe we can make it better. If we don't try, we'll never know. There's love, 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 yeah, 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 yeah. It's love, love, love. Oh, oh, and then there's the last verse, a plea for salvation, born out of forgiveness, delivered in patience. The past is behind us, the future is near, and if this is what love means, it's finally here, and it's love, 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 love.
Lavengers.